It's been a whole 2 months since the last time I've done a details video, and considering the fact that Firestorm, Battlefield 5's Battle Royale mode, is all the craze right now for all Battlefield players and other people alike, I decided, you know what, I've been wanting to make another details video for quite some time now. Let's do one specifically focusing on the Firestorm game mode, so I hope you guys enjoy. Here are a couple of cool little details within Firestorm that most people either wouldn't notice or you just don't really pay attention to it, even though in my opinion they are pretty cool. Let's start off with some of the more obvious details in Firestorm. For example, the wall of fire, which is the circle that keeps on shrinking. In my opinion, it is definitely kind of a selling point for Firestorm, because most other Battle Royale games have this zone moving in, which is in my opinion pretty generic, while here in Battlefield 5 Firestorm a huge wall of fire is so much more, it's so much cooler. And there are a couple of things that I noticed with this wall of fire. First of all, on its own, let's be honest, it looks pretty cool and it's scary as well, it's really intimidating. But some cool details can be noticed when standing close to this massive wall of fire. As I explained in my previous video, when you are standing close to the fire, your whole vision gets this red tint, it gets blurry, and everything seems to get visually distorted. Unlike other Battle Royale games, where you can simply stand near the zone, look through it and even shoot through it, there is no real penalty. Whereas in Firestorm, the fire really keeps you at a distance, like it's really intimidating, you want to go as far away from the storm as possible. The sound of the fire is overwhelming when you are standing close, and your vision inside the fire is also pretty much zero, which are not only cool details, they are also really important game mechanics as well, meaning you can really fight inside the storm. Speaking of which, did you ever notice that when you are inside the storm, your whole body is engulfed in flames? Best to be seen with a squad mate, obviously. As you can see here, when a player is in the storm, flames are everywhere, which, let's be honest, might be pretty painful, but it looks badass. And when he comes out of the storm, you can still see some of that burning effect before it goes away. Also, the ground near the storm is burning, which is a really cool effect. Okay, now let's take a look at the opposite of fire, which is snow. In this map called Halvoy, you have a big snowy area covering like half the map. And one cool detail that I noticed while playing the game is the transition when walking from the wooded area, without the snow, into the snowy area. They've done a pretty good job in making the transition smooth and believable. The snow particles are slowly fading in, you can hear the cold wind setting in ever so slightly, and stuff like that. It's a small touch, but it makes the whole Battle Royale experience that much more immersive. And speaking about these snow particles, let's take a closer look on how cool they actually are. Let's take a tank for example. Obviously, when locked in a vehicle lockup, these tanks are clean and untouched. However, as soon as you get them out in the snow, you can see that slowly, over time, the snow is gonna be building on the tracks, on the side, on the rear, on the whole tank. Like I said, pretty cool touch, but it gets even cooler. Cooler, because it's snow. If you look closely, the snow particles are drifting in the wind, and wind obviously blows in a specific direction. Well, guess what? The snow particles that are drifting in the same direction as the wind actually has collision, so it collides with certain objects in the world. For example, the tanks. You can perfectly see it right here. It goes against the side of the tank and then blows over it. It's the same direction of the wind, so it changes depending on how you position your tank in relation to the wind. It's pretty damn amazing in my opinion, and even if you stand still for a little bit and the snow is building up on the tank, once you begin to drive again, the snow will fall off, which is such an amazing touch in my opinion, and a really cool eye for detail. So not only DICE has that, but also Criterion. Now let's step back a little bit to the start of the round. Did you ever notice that when you are about to jump the plane, you can actually look inside the plane and see a bunch of soldiers ready to jump? And I could be mistaken, but I feel like as more people jump out of the plane, the less people you actually see inside the plane, which is also a pretty cool detail. Another detail in this phase is the jumping itself. Did you ever notice that when you or your squad mates are jumping, you actually have a jumping animation, unlike for example Fortnite, PUBG or even Apex Legends, where you kinda just pop out from out of nowhere, whereas in Firestorm you can see your soldiers actually jump, with an animation. Not all the time, it's sometimes a bit sketchy, but often. And also, when you are skydiving, you have this cool visual effect on your screen with rain and water and whatnot, which also looks pretty dope. And like I said earlier, Firestorm is for sure the most immersive Battle Royale game at the moment, because the whole map is very detailed. Everything from the snowy area to the shoreline, every nook and cranny has been filled with details, visually as well as audio details. For example, if you are walking or running too close to a group of birds, they will fly away, which is not only a cool detail, it can be used as an actual game mechanic. If you are standing in the wood, for example, and next to you a pack of birds are flying away all of a sudden, it is likely that something or someone has scared them away, meaning there can be an enemy close by. And pretty much all audio cues are very detailed in Firestorm and are also a game mechanic. Like you can hear a current of water peacefully running, which will enhance the footsteps if an enemy is walking in that water, but also wooden floors, for example. They make a lot of noise when walking over them and can help you pinpoint an enemy's location. Very useful. And it's pretty funny that the directional audio is better in the Battle Royale game mode compared to the base game of Battlefield 5, but then again, in Battle Royale it's a lot more important. A more obvious detail in Firestorm can be seen with the armor plates. First of all, when placing a new armor plate, you can see your soldier throwing out the old plate, which is pretty cool, but we already knew that. However, did you notice that the old plates have bullet holes in them, making them unusable, which is obviously the reason why they are being replaced. But of course, you also already knew that. But what I think a lot of people don't notice is that the bullet holes in the old plates that are being thrown away are not always identical. As you can see, you have different types of bullet holes in the old armor plates, which can only be seen for a few frames. So the fact that they added this is pretty cool. Also, we have a bunch of different animations for placing a new armor plate in the vest, which I guess looks pretty damn awesome. Another cool detail can be seen when you have a pistol in your inventory and you are down. If you are down and have a pistol, you can make a final stand and fire a couple of rounds with your pistol. Unfortunately, it is extremely hard and not that viable, which is kind of a shame, but it is a cool look when shooting it. You can see your soldier is not shooting it regularly, but with only one hand, and in a way which suggests that this is a last ditch effort, which is obviously the case. Back in the hangar, there are some more details to be spotted. Firstly, when the doors are opening, you can hear the plane's engines are starting to run. And snow is coming in through the doors. Furthermore, in the squad menu you can see your squad's characters standing in a different way than the base multiplayer game mode from Battlefield 5. In my opinion, these stands are way cooler, and there are also some funny ones, like you have the regular Joe, the way too serious, the formal royalty, the anime character, the Predator, the Fighter 2.0, the Fighter 3.0, the Look at Me, and many more. Also, the announcer in the hangar during the pre-round is saying a bunch of different lines. It's not always the same thing.
Your aim is true, your motive just. Do not stop until every last one of the enemy has fallen. Your aim is true, your motive just. Fellow countrymen, your courage and your confidence strike fear in the enemy's eyes. We will strike fear in the enemy. Today, we take no prisoners. Today, we show no mercy for our enemy. We are proud of your unwillingness to surrender.
Anyway guys, that's about it for the video. I thought it would be cool to make a details video, but this time, like I said, focused on the Firestorm game mode. A lot of these details are not in the base multiplayer game, which is kind of surprising because some of them could easily be implemented, like the snow details and stuff like that. But then again, the base Battlefield 5 multiplayer game also has details that Firestorm doesn't have, like footprints in the snow. So I guess it's kind of the same in that department. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, that always helps out a lot. Of course, subscribe if you haven't already for more videos. Don't forget to turn on notifications because YouTube can be a pain in the ass sometimes. Be sure to sell your kidney on the black market, and with that being said, I see you guys next time.